Hello and welcome to the Super League Pom-Cast. It's a pretty somber atmosphere this week, isn't it? It's been an awful week of rugby league. Words can't describe what it's like when you're living in a country that's just battered you. Um, but I am joined by Andy, of course, for this review, preview, and everything in between of that game one leading into game two. How are we, Andy? You obviously went to Wembley.
I did, and we'll try and find some positives out of it for leading up to this week, won't we? But I'm not sure what they are just yet.
No, but we'll get into them, and we'll hopefully try work them out. As obviously England got beat by Australia last weekend on Sunday, and on Saturday, sorry, Sunday morning for us over here, and it was one of them. But we're gonna save them ones because there's been big news in the domestic front and international front this week, as the NRL chiefs Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo met up in a secret location in London with a couple of people from the RFL and Rugby League Commercial. We, of course, know them as the new CEO, and the new CEO of Rugby League Commercial being Nigel Wood, along with, I believe it was Redlinski, there was the Hull FC Thurkill, wasn't there?
Yeah,
And Warrington Wolves was the
yeah,
third club. Saints had a matter out of their hands, and I think Hull KR were a bit busy, and there should have been a couple of other clubs that Leeds were busy as well, I believe.
yeah.
Um, for a start, it sounded like it went better than expected because Peter V'landys said so. He was pleasantly surprised, he said.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he's pleasantly surprised with. Is it the standing we have at the minute? Is it the ambition of the clubs? Is it the state of the game in this country? Um, I don't think he went into a lot of detail about what he was pleasantly surprised with.
No, I think he was more on about more pleasantly surprised about the willingness of the clubs, but he didn't say what the willingness was.
The interview. I saw the interview, and it was quite ambiguous, really.
Yeah,
He didn't give much away either way. They asked him about would there be a breakaway NRL Europe League, and he said no. He clarified that. Um, he'd mentioned about he did have concerns about the financial stability, I think, of Super
yeah.
League.
Oh, yeah, he said it was basically down to be a train wreck if they didn't accept help, which is downright true, isn't it? I mean,
Well,
especially when it came out today that he was like, yes, they have to pay out all the hundreds of thousands of debts the last Rugby League World Cup got them into, along with other debts that they have.
mm, and also, I mean, I think it's rumored or it's been reported, whichever way you look at it, that um, Sky in the last year of the deal don't want to fork out for the extra games because of the 14 teams.
Yeah.
Um, you'd think these things hadn't been thought out properly, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's almost like they've pulled it out of a hat. A
I mean,
Bradford cap
how you can have
from
these
the club
discussions
shop.
without the main broadcaster at the forefront of them, I'm not quite sure.
Well,
But
that's it, because the
it's things
NRL
like that.
model is
Well,
broadcaster comes first, which is
yeah,
right.
and it's things like that I would think that put real alarm bells in Vlandy's mind.
Yeah. That's why they want the full control of the game, because
Yeah,
they know that the Chiefs at the helm put bums on seats ahead of eyes on the screen, which is not where you make your most consistent money.
yeah. The good thing is though, is that one of the big chiefs wasn't at the meeting because he was too busy sending video messages to UFC fighters. So,
Was this Mr. Beaumont, I'm
yeah.
assuming? Couldn't be anyone else, could it?
Yeah. Thanks,
Oh,
Peter. Thanks for coming. I'm a bit busy at the minute with the UFC. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, at least it's
So,
an IMG thing.
yeah. It's but I mean when you look at the way that I know we've been over this before, but when you look at the way that Vlandis and the NRL have operated in terms of getting the Perth on board, it's a
Yeah,
long-term project, and then PNG, it's another long-term
y-
project, isn't it?
yeah. And there's
It's
a lot of green shoots there in
yeah,
them expansions.
and then we say, oh, actually, yeah, we'll have 14. What about the TV? Oh, it doesn't matter about them. They'll come round. That'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah,
And and a lot of these things then where now we can't decide whether we're now going to go back to promotion, relegation, etc., etc. And we've been through these on other pods before. But all these things, if I was coming in from the most commercially viable and successful organisation in Australia, and therefore in rugby league in the world, I'd be a little bit taken aback by saying, "You've done what? You've done
yeah,
what? You haven't done this."
yeah.
And it would
Why haven't you
really,
done this already?
it would really.
Why do you keep getting shocked that you're getting into more and more debt?
But the thing is, me and you can see it on a podcast. Fans can see it
90% of
everywhere.
people can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why I don't, I really, really don't understand how this keeps happening to our sport. It wouldn't. I mean, I
No.
know it's a different animal, but can you imagine if the Premier League acted like this, or even the Championship, or any? It just wouldn't happen.
Remember the clubs tried to, and the
Yeah,
fans
yeah,
backtracked, and the fans rebelled against it because they
yeah,
knew how it would kill the sport.
yeah,
Now, I know it's different because of the way our sport is and everything else, but there's they could see it was a bad decision, so they overthrew the club owners effectively
yeah.
in that decision of the European Super League and fan pressure. Whereas, like, here, it just seems like the owners rule the roost. They can
Mm.
do whatever they want. And if they don't get their own way, then they just kind of whinge and complain until they
Yeah,
do,
exactly that. Yeah. Oh,
which isn't the way to go about things.
completely off the subject, by the way, and I meant to mention it at the very start. Nice background again, looking
Nice
like
background, yeah.
you sat there in
And
in the new Hill Dickinson Stadium, or as we
Hill
call it
in
this week,
Bramley Moor Docks.
as we call it this
The
week, the David Dickinson Stadium.
David Dickinson, of course. It's
That's the
lovely and
real deal.
mahogany. It's
And
lovely and mahogany.
I was
Those that
only one
aren't watching, tune in and watch.
exactly, and I was only wondering next week when we do Leeds, if we're back again for Leeds next week, and your background is Headingley. I hope you're going to do the Western Terrace with the little houses in the background and everything.
I'm doing Odsal, the real home of rugby league in West Yorkshire.
Oh, brilliant! But no, I think with that, when we say it's promising, um, are we nearer than we were this time last week then to something happening with the NRL, or is it just words?
I think so. I mean, you look at last week, there was reports in Australian media that they were most concerned about St. Helens and how hostile they'd be because Saints had been very vocal on the whole Nigel Wood situation and how they put the backing in Nigel Wood, which scared the NRL, I believe, according to Australian media. So they thought Saints would be the most hostile there. Saints obviously didn't turn up to the meeting, but Eamon McManus did put out a huge statement via both Australian press and English press saying he's been at the forefront and 18 months ago he suggested we need to get closer relations to the NRL and we need to really bring the game as one.
Yeah.
Which I don't get how he says one thing and reports say differently. I just don't get how that works.
It was there's a few mixed messages there, isn't there? Because
Yeah, that's what I
the,
mean. There's
this
complete mixed
week's
messages.
this week's statement was all about pro expansion, etc.,
Yeah.
etc., and yet
And today,
earlier
to,
on in the season, it wasn't when the Nigel Wood situation came up.
exactly. And today, and he said that on the bench, and today comes out via Moley. That's so take it with a pinch of salt, of course. That Saints and the Bunnies want to play an expedition match in Hong Kong in 2027 ahead of Saints going to Vegas.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but again, that's from an Australian outlet that's got, past history of not being as accurate as anyone. But it's it just seems really strange how all these mixed messages come about. Because sure, is one person at the club saying something different to the owner?
Yeah.
Is the main owners saying something different to Eamon? Like,
Yeah.
is there a miscommunication between what the Colemans want, what Eamon wants, what the CEO wants, what the I don't know where this is coming about, but honestly, as the whole, it seems like the NRL are really looking into it. Andrew Abdo and Peter V'landys have left England now and are going back to Australia and are talking to all 17 CEOs of clubs about it and really talking about um, everything. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we have a NRL Europe that isn't a breakaway comp and that is utilising what is currently here.
Mm. Well, I mean, you've been closer now to the NRL for a while in Sydney. If that happened and it wasn't a breakaway league, etc., um, what would be the benefits? So for us over here now, you've seen the NRL and the administration there in action. What would be the main benefits for us?
So, main benefits for the Super League would be, depending on how it would go about, is you would get younger players from the NRL going over
Mm.
that can't get first grade games that'll go
Especially now
over
we've got a quota of 10 spot as well.
exactly that will
Mm.
go over, play 2 3 years, develop in a full-time environment. They get the perks of seeing Europe in the off season, going on weekaways when, so they can sell it in that way. And also they're in a first team environment from an earlier age, from 19. They've got bags more talent and they can do that. The problem is then is you're then going to see a lot of younger players in England not develop. So I believe there'll probably be a cross switch where younger players from the NRL will go over and play full time, and then you'll have younger players in England going over to Australia playing in the New South Wales and Queensland Cup, which is
Yeah,
a higher version than our academy and reserve grade,
yeah,
but that isn't the first team environment. So you'll probably get the players like, say, at Saints, like your Leon Cohens that are only playing a couple of games. They'll probably go over, play in the New South Wales Cup, which is a higher division than the reserve grade in England. So I
yeah.
reckon that's where you'll probably see things where there'll be a lot of that cross switching. The thing I don't want to see is where, say, Penrith partner with York,
Mm.
and then they go, "Oh, York have got a really good young player
Yeah,
there that will be our first teamer, will come over and he'll play first grade for us." That's
yeah,
what you don't want to see. You want to
yeah.
see it being utilised to develop the league. You don't want to see it being going, tell you what, that Jack Wellesby's very good at Saints, isn't it? I'll tell you what, well, Saints, we've lent you a load of players. We'll have your Jack.
Mm. You
You
don't
know
want it
what I
to.
mean? You
We
don't
don't
want
want it to
that.
become. We don't want it to become a feeder league, essentially, don't we?
No.
It's, yeah,
No, and that's where
yeah.
the grey, the fine line needs to be towed. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be players that want to play in the NRL.
Of
Your
course there
John
is.
Batemans, your George Williamses,
Yeah,
your Lewis Dodds. I know it failed, but he always said he wanted to. And Morgan
yeah.
Smithies, like you'll always have them players, and they'll always go over. But it's about keeping it and developing it and being that sort of way.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah. No, when you put it like that, yeah. I just hope that the club owners. going to say as usual, but I'm not quite sure how I'm putting this, but are absolutely dazzled by the bright lights of the NRL. Does that make sense?
I don't think there will be because I think there'll be some owners that know they're not in the long-term plans of the NRL. So what I
Mm.
think the NRL may do is go, look, if we're taking over the administration, whatever we say goes. We're giving the 14 clubs 3 years in the top flight. If you're not achieving our aims that we're going to set out with IMG in the partnership, for example, that we're setting out with them, if you do not make this criterion, there's no bullshitting about it. You're dropping out, and we're giving clubs we think should be
Mm.
in in.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about.
Whether it's making a new franchise, for example,
Yeah,
with funds.
yeah, I was just going to ask you about IMG. So they would stay in this
I
new
think so.
setup,
But
wouldn't they?
I
Yeah,
think so, just because they can do a lot commercially, and also you've kind of signed a contract, so you'd have to pay them off.
yeah, yeah,
You'd have to pay
and
them off.
probably would probably be useful for the NRL. They would probably be a
Well,
negotiating
they
and
can be the eyes
administrative
and they can
tool
be
for
their
them
eyes and
from
ears as
miles
well.
away.
They can be their eyes and ears from
That's what I mean.
miles
Yeah,
away as well. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I
So
agree with that. Yeah,
so it would work, and then you kind of lose the RFL, and then they can kind of go, look, RFL, you guys look after, you know, the championship. We'll look after the top flight, and IMG will oversee everything
yeah, yeah.
commercially and everything. And then there's no real need for rugby league commercial, which is the worry because Nigel Wood's head of that. So,
But he's also now senior executive chair now of the RFL. So
oh, so they made up a position for the RFL for him.
yeah,
So he's not the, oh,
gets
so
round the
that,
sport gets round the Sport
I
England
was going to
rules, doesn't
say
he?
that gets around the Sports England because it's a new position, but
Yeah, he's not
really he is the head of
he's
it.
not a CEO. He's
And
senior
so
executive
this,
chair.
oh, so that's technically higher than the new CEO.
That's what it said. Yes, that's what it say. Actually, that's what it actually said in his message in the program last week from Wembley, and it was signed Nigel Wood, chair of CEO RL Commercial and senior executive chair RFL. Yeah,
Just when you thought his head couldn't get any fatter, he's blown it out the window. We've just been,
two buffies for the price of one.
oh my, he's genius. Put another shrimp on the barbie. He is.
Exactly. So yeah,
That's why. Maybe he heard Australia were coming in. He was like, bloody hell, they do a good barbecue. They'll be catering well.
Christmas on the beach. That's what he's looking at, isn't it?
Get the barbie out, Peter.
Is that a real thing? Christmas on the beach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
Is
big
it?
thing on Christmas Day. Usually it's
Yeah.
the expats and everything
Right.
that go. I've not done it. I've still not spent a Christmas in Australia yet. I've done two Christmases in New Zealand, and last year, on my first full year, I flew back home.
Yeah. Are you are you flying back home this year, or
I am not.
Are you
I'm not.
Christmas in there?
I'm Christmasing in Oz. I'm working over most of it, which isn't even
Okay.
great. So
Well, it lets you
anyway,
save some money up for Vegas for next year, doesn't it, for 2027, doesn't it?
2027. Well, I'm saving it for Hong Kong.
And Vegas. Yeah. Call it
A
Hong. You can
double
call it
header.
Hong Kong on the way around, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. On the way back, and the World Cup as well next
Yeah.
year. Bloody hell, it's going to be an expensive year of rugby league, this, isn't it?
Brilliant. Yeah.
But onto the main topic of this this podcast. I don't want to go on about it, to be honest, but it was, of course, game one. It was at Wembley. I made a bold prediction saying we're going to absolutely romp it just because I was wound up by Aaron Woods. Um, it ended up being completely different. Sean Wayne came out and saying how the fight of the English will come out and being shown, and how, the big emotional speech that came out talking about 50 years since we last won the Ashes, blah, 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 blah. Everyone was geared up and everyone thought, you know what? Even you said it. We went, is this a chance? Like, is this the weakest side that's come
Yeah.
across? Are we in with a chance? We both agreed, yeah, we were with a chance.
We
We were
yeah,
never 24-0 down.
yeah, we say this every single time, don't we? We get excited. My fear is, I know we'll come on to this week, but my fear is that by Saturday the Ashes is over before it's really begun,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
my
the real
fear.
pity of it, that we've waited so long for this, and there's been so much excitement, and potentially we're 48 hours away from it being over
Yeah,
already, and that's a
after 23 years.
and that's with and then if that is the case, we've nothing to build on from this series. That's the biggest thing.
Well, if anything, we're further away than what we
Mm.
was before this series started.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I mean,
and to be fair though, midway through this year when we were talking about you've got to have your goals for the domestic comp, and we were talking about it, and me and you both agreed that the domestic comp goal should always be to have England beat
yeah,
Australia. That should always be the pinnacle. And we said you could argue we're further away now than we were 10 years ago from achieving that goal. And last week we geared ourselves up to beat them 3-0.
yeah. So when I worked for Sport England, which is 15 years ago now, but when every sport had to put their plans in, and
Hmm.
I always took a close eye on rugby league, that what we were doing, and um, the every sport had not a mission statement. I suppose it was, but it was an ultimate goal. And
Yeah.
rugby leagues at that time was always to be the second best Test nation in
No.
World Rugby League. Yeah, that was the ambition. That was the thing. Now, bearing that in mind, so that
You're
was
beating
that was the
yourself
goal to be
up
the yeah. So that was the goal
before it
in the in
started.
if you look back over, they used to call them whole sport plans at that time. But if you look back over that time at whole sport plans that rugby league submitted to Sport England, you would see it in there to be the second best. That was it. That was what was on. And the only reason I say that is, are we even that now?
Probably fourth.
Are you putting Samoa in front of us?
Yeah. They beat us at the World Cup as well. I know we played them last year and won, but half the side were missing.
It was a
And
it
they've
was a
only got stronger since then.
it was a misleading test series, that really, wasn't it? Because
Yeah, Stephen
half
Crichton's
of them were
wedding
still at a
messed it up.
wedding, yeah. But and the way that Samoa performed against Tonga at weekend was
Yeah,
brilliant.
exactly. They
So
blitzed them, mate.
at the
To be at
best,
that game as well.
yeah, I think at best we joint third at best.
Yeah,
But
I
you're
won't put
probably
us
right.
there, but yeah.
Realistically, you're probably right at the minute with four. So we're even further ahead of that. We're behind what they were then because of the emergence of more of the Pacific nations.
Hmm.
Whereas 15 years ago or so, when those plans went in, they didn't really exist as test playing nations, did they?
No,
There was
Tamalolo
there was
changed it
there was three.
2017.
There was three plus PNG plus France.
Yeah,
That was it. Samoa and Tonga were nowhere on the international board at that point.
no.
Nowhere near. So you say, okay, well they've improved so much, and we haven't. The thing going back to this first test though, and you've mentioned it there before about the speech that England have grit that nobody else has, etc., etc., reminded me so much of Kevin Keegan when he was in
Yeah,
charge of the England football team. And I always thought with Kevin Keegan that there wasn't a lot of coaching ability. It was man management and it was inspiration.
yeah,
And you need more than that.
yeah.
And then he ended up resigning in the toilet after his last game. And I thought, oh, I wonder if Sean Wayne's going to resign in the toilet after the first test. But he didn't. But
That
we
would have been a
talked about
sight.
passion. We talked about grit. What I didn't hear a lot of before the game was, this is how we think we can beat them.
Yeah, that's true.
I, I
It was,
didn't
it
hear
was
a
a lot
lot
of
of,
propaganda, though.
yeah, I didn't hear a lot of, our pack is this, our half backs are this, our 3/4 line is this. we think we can match them in this area. And traditionally, we've always matched them physically in the pack. But this
Yeah,
time we
well,
didn't.
that was over with the team selection, mate.
Yeah, but as a history will show you that our pack has always been a match, I think, for the Australian pack.
Hmm.
And it's the backs and the half backs that have made the difference. And
Yeah,
particularly, I think, over the last 20 years, I think the difference in the backs has been the size of the
yeah,
three-quarter lines in the NRL compared to the three-quarter lines
yeah,
in Super League. And I think that's been the difference. Plus, they've always churned out these spectacular halfbacks in Australia, whereas
yeah,
we've struggled a little bit for that, probably since Sean Long, really.
yeah, massively.
I think. And even Sean Long didn't really set the world on fire at international level.
Well, there's Leon Price as well. We had Longy
Yeah,
and Price at the time.
yeah.
They ripped it
So,
up in that
yeah,
2007 series.
yeah.
And but you talked about it, the fire, the grit, the determination. It looked like after Reece Walsh scored his first try, it looked like we just we were with the fire had gone.
I think,
It was like we were weak. Like Isaiah went off 7 minutes in, right? I genuinely thought to myself watching it, I was like, this is on here. We're
mm,
gonna, everything's going our way. It's going to happen. And as the game went on, we just didn't match them in any
I
department.
I went with Bobby from our podcast to Wembley,
Hmm.
and me and Bobby went, and I said to him after 20 minutes because I thought we'd done okay for 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
We had a couple of half chances. Reece Walsh got his fingertips to a couple of not interceptions, but he blocked passes that
mate.
we could have
But
done.
why didn't we dummy then,
I don't know. I
mate?
don't know.
It was there. It was
There was
Joe Wardle had a
yeah,
walk-in try,
yeah.
and he throws the pass when he's dummied it, beat him, and then throws the pass.
So the only thing I can put that down to, I play a lot of tennis,
Yeah.
right? When I play somebody, and I play
Oh
to a
yeah.
decent.
Do you ever get through a pod without mentioning that you play tennis?
No, so I play to a decent level, right? When I'm playing somebody that's world ranked in my age group, yeah,
Yeah.
you get a chance and you're coming into the net, right? I'm coming into the net and I'm thinking, got to put this way, got to put this way, got to put this way, got to put this way. And you don't. And before
Yeah.
you know it, the game's gone. Whereas,
Yeah.
if I'm playing somebody that I know I'm miles better than, I don't think
Yeah.
that. I just hit it. And if I miss
Yeah.
it, well, it doesn't matter because I'll get another chance in a minute.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. I think when you are the
Yeah.
underdog, or when
And
you've
you have
not as
and
you
you don't play against them every week.
and you don't take that chance,
Yeah.
you don't get many more. And you have to take that chance. But
It's
it's in
yeah.
your mind. It's in your mind. Chance, chance, chance. Got to take.
Yeah.
And
That
it's a little bit.
hesitation. Because
Yeah,
it's like he hesitates.
a
It's like,
wrong.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
dummy it. Oh no, if I dummy it
no, I'm
and
not.
he
Yeah,
tackles me, I'm
and
gonna
you
look an
make.
idiot. I'll pass it. Oh no, he's
Yeah,
yeah.
and ultimately you make the wrong decision. We
Yeah.
had the kick from Tom Johnston that was just too deep.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
If he kicks that cross field a little bit more, we score. Wellesby or Williams get to
yeah.
it. So there's fine margins, and in Test matches, when you're up against it against a superior team, you have to take those chances. And I said to
Yeah.
Bobby, I said 20 minutes in, I said we needed to have took one of these chances here because I think what'll happen is that Australia soon will turn the screw
Yeah.
defensively and intensive
Well,
in the intensity, and they
we had
did.
that. Yeah, we had that chance when it was 4-0. 6-0, sorry. We had that chance to bring it back. We also had a penalty that we should have kicked for two,
I
and
was
we
going to ask you
didn't.
for that. Would you have took the two there?
Absolutely. You get points on the board, especially in a test match. And also, if you're then going in right, at half time and the score's only 4. Instead, we didn't kick for it. We went for touch, and then they go up the other end and
Mm.
score, and then suddenly we're 10 points down, 12 points
Yeah,
down,
I think the other thing about that penalty is
8 points down, sorry,
it gives you a
for the kick two.
security blanket for what happened at
Yeah,
half time. Because I don't know about you, but when we got that penalty given against us with a minute to go, I
yeah,
felt deflated because I
yeah,
thought that's the game.
yeah. Because
Whereas if it's
if we were
8-2,
one score,
they'll still take the two because
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
minute to go. 8-2, you're like, well, okay, it doesn't make that much difference.
But they may also not have had that opportunity. You don't know
Yeah.
what then is going
No, that's
on
right.
after
The
we kick
game
the
might have
goal.
changed. Yeah.
So, like, after we
Yeah.
kick the goal, we get the ball back, and then they may not have had the
And
opportunity to
so
get
on.
the
Yeah.
penalty, so on and so forth. But these are the fine margins and the poor game management that they should have gone, oh, we need a try. We're not going to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put 2 points, right, you've then also got the hoodoo out your head of, we're not going to be nilled.
We're off the board. Yeah, we're on the board.
We're off the
That's it. Yeah.
board. We're only one score behind.
Yeah.
Reset, lads. Get
And
into half time. Reset. Have a chat to the head coach, and off we go.
I think we'd come back to the pack because we talked about the forwards matching theirs traditionally, and we didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a lot of go forward,
No, no.
particularly,
Havard and Lee's
particularly
two
from the
workhorses.
particularly from the starting props.
Yeah. You got two workhorses there as props. Why? You
Who
need
who
someone
don't
with punch.
who don't seem to make an awful lot of meters for their clubs.
No.
You know,
It should have been Walmsley and Lees or McMeek and Lees or Walmsley and Trout. And then when they came on, you have Trout, who's again another workhorse.
yeah.
You've got McMeekin, who only really came on for a small chunk of the game in comparison. And where the hell is Morgan Smithies?
Mm,
You said about them moments about how, when you're playing against the best, it's them fine margins, right? Morgan Smithies was one of the best players in a pack for the team that topped the NRL. He plays against the best every single week. There's a reason John Bateman had a good game. There's a reason George Williams in the past has played in the NRL and he had an half decent game. There's a reason Herbie Farnworth was our best player without a shadow of a doubt. That's because they play against them every single week, and they know
mm.
they're just another player, on the pitch. Where's that leader in the pack in Morgan Smithies that you could have and turn to and go, Morgan, bloody hell, these are big, aren't? Yeah, don't worry about it,
Mm.
lads. We'll
Do you,
get 'em here.
do you think Laurie Daly was right then in his comments this week, where he was saying that Sean Wayne didn't want to pick too many players from the NRL because they wanted to show that Super League was
Yeah,
a top competition?
yeah, I do agree with that. I agree with that completely. That's why he didn't pick Billy Smith. That and other reasons. Um, there's there's, there's a reason he he didn't pick Matty Nicholson, for example, and he's playing fitness. But like, yeah, I 100% believe that. I believe that's why he said about Max King and how it was because of the national anthem fiasco. Max King would have made that side a lot better.
Yeah,
There's a
he's
reason. There's a reason he's done that, and I reckon it is to show us Super League
goes
boys can rep it with the best.
back to that Kevin Keegan scenario. Yeah,
Even like AJ Brimson, for example, who's played at state of origin level, right? He's played at the pinnacle, as the Aussies say, of our game, and yet he's what 19th man?
yeah, yeah. He was 18th man, wasn't he,
Yeah,
on Saturday? Do you do you think that? I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but do you think that Brimson should have been in instead of Wellesby in the first place?
no, and I'll stand by
Bearing in
that because
sorry,
I believe that.
but bearing in mind that Jack Wellesby has been pretty ineffective since he come back from injury, and
Yeah,
I think he's been rushed back with injury with these Ashes in
yeah,
mind.
mm-hmm,
And B, since he's come back, I think he only played 2 games at fullback because Tristan Saylor played the rest because Wellens couldn't decide on a spine. It was only the
Yeah.
playoff games that Wells became in for the fullback. So therefore,
S-
since he's come back from injury, he's only played a couple of games at fullback
The the
and
the
not played very well since he's come back.
no.
Really,
The problem is with Wellesby as well is all them things taken is it's my belief about a shadow of a doubt that he would rip it up in the NRL, that he
okay,
has the talent to absolutely destroy it. He deserved a chance to show that he was number one for England. Um, However, you look at what he did in the World Cup Challenge against Penrith, tore him up, right? You look at it with hindsight in mind and that performance he put out for the England number one. There's no doubt in my mind AJ Brimson should be starting the next game.
yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you've said. I just wonder in terms of um, if he was ready. That was more the point. I do
I
agree
stand
with you.
I stand by my decision beforehand when I was saying, look, he deserves a shot, and I still think he is the best number one England have. I just
Yeah,
think right now it looks like his confidence isn't there. It looks like his fitness isn't there. From an outsider looking in, he didn't have the best season at Saints. He was moved about here, there, and everywhere. I think, and it's not like you've only got three of these games, and at the end of the day, really, England only have one of these games
yeah,
because we've got to win this weekend, and
yeah,
you've got to now go and look right. It's not like you've got a full season and you go, oh, Jack, we'll play you 4 or 5 games, see if you get you get your confidence back and you improve. So for me, you've got to stick AJ in.
yeah.
You've got
I
to.
mean, with Wellesby, I mean, he's even played a game at 13 this season.
Yeah.
There's not many fullbacks doing that in Super League or anywhere really.
Or anywhere.
But yeah, he's. I mean, the stick he's got this week has been absolutely way over the top. It's it's
I
it's
don't think
ridiculous.
I don't think he had an awful game. I think he had good moments and bad moments. The bad moment is the fact that it's been highlighted so much is when he forgot what the try line was. He did a
Yeah,
Lockie Miller
and
basically,
and he
and
did.
that is that has reduced his stock over here massively.
Yeah. And I don't think he was great in attack. I think it slowed it down in attack a lot as well. And what doesn't help Wellesby is his opposite number.
But also, do you think that was because of the way our 6 and 7 were as well? Because you've got Mickey
What?
Lewis, who is very much off the cuff, play what's in front of him. Jack Wellesby is very much off the cuff, plays what's in front of him.
Hmm.
If you had, for example, Harry Smith and Williams, who are quite organised, the pair of them, and Jack popping out the back, would that have been a better option? So
Yeah,
I think
perhaps
AJ
so.
Brimson's quite structured. So I
Yeah,
think if you had AJ Brimson, you should play Lewis and Smith.
yeah,
Lewis and Williams. But if you've got Jack, I think you should play Williams and Smith, where you've
yeah,
got two organising halves and Jack can pop up anywhere.
yeah, yeah. You,
I
you
don't
you're
think they
probably right.
complement because you look at Tristan and Jack this year, where they're both off the cuff and playing. Jack was nowhere near as effective as the year before or the year
Mm,
before that
yeah,
when he had Lomax and Dodd.
yeah.
So
So,
I think that was where we probably messed up as well with Jack. I think that's the
but
poor management side
well, I was
from
just
the
going to say,
coaches not seeing that.
but we're talking about with this. We're talking about the actual pinnacle of the game here.
Yeah,
That shouldn't be happening.
no,
That should not be happening because we're talking about the absolute highest level of rugby league in the world.
yeah,
This Ashes series that should not be happening.
no,
Um, but I think the one thing that I thought though, I know we're going to go on to the next
yeah,
game, but I thought that Australia have this ability to turn something out of nothing,
yes,
and England haven't got that. And that's what I say about
mm-hmm,
taking these chances when you can,
yeah,
because all of a sudden, you've played another 10 minutes and you're 20-0 down. because
Hmm.
they've turned something out of nothing, which they did on the first try. They did. I mean, it was a mile forward
Yeah.
pass, and I
Oh,
actually
mate.
thought it might have been an obstruction as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the NRL slagged off the referees. I think they did them a
I
favour
thought they
most
got a
of the
good deal.
time. They got two
I thought,
forward
yeah,
pass tries.
yeah, I thought they got a
They
good deal off the referee.
they
They
got
were
they
they were
got a
concerned about the
lot
ruck
of
speed, weren't they? But I thought they got a good deal out of them.
they got a lot of stuff out of him. Like they're
Yeah.
moaning about it, but yeah, not one of the pundits mentioned the two forward pass tries at all.
No,
At all.
but the first try that set everything going, the first try was a pretty innocuous play the ball inside their own
Hmm.
half,
Yeah.
and before you know it, it's gone bang. The speed of pass across the
Yeah.
pitch, phenomenal. Didn't give the defense time to slide,
From
and that
Munster.
happened then. That happened then, time and time again. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, Walsh was an absolute freak, wasn't he? He had
If
an
it wasn't for the
unbelievable game.
ankle tap from Herbie, it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah,
That was
um,
2 minutes after the
yeah.
kick-off of the
The
second half.
the first Crichton try was poor all round.
Yeah.
Lewis was in no man's land. He'd shot out of the line. Walmsley got turned inside out and looked the age
Yeah.
he is. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, Wellsby forgot where the line was, and that was a poor try to give away, and pretty much sealed the game there, didn't it? I think that was the
Yeah.
14-0 because they could have scored before that with Walsh's magnificent break,
Yeah.
but and then all of a sudden it's gone, and we then having to look forward, but we
Yeah.
looked.
It's like
I
you said,
think after
if
that,
we take them chances, like I don't think we were too far away from them in that first game. If we took them chances and we did things, but they weren't on their best. They were nowhere near their best. And that's the
which is
thing that
which is
worries
the
me.
worry. That
Because
that
England
was the
England
thing.
have to get better. They will
Well,
get better.
that's what I was saying about the first 20 minutes to Bobby, and I said to him, then we needed to make something because they're rusty. They
Hmm.
had handling errors.
Yeah.
They didn't really look like a team in the first 20 minutes.
No. Well, that's
And
why
I
they
think I
stayed on at
can't
half
remember.
time.
I can't remember who it was after the game. Said one of the players said afterwards that they'd gone in at half time and were pretty disappointed with their first half performance.
Well, that's why they stayed on the pitch in a huddle for the first
Yeah,
5 minutes of our time because they said we were just chatting to each other, going, "Guys, what's this? This isn't
yeah,
like us. We're
yeah,
making these many mistakes. Like we need
yeah.
to sort this out." And then went in, and the
And
coach
then
said the same thing,
yeah,
and then ripped
and
it
then
up.
but you're right. And if on this next game, then if Australia are going to get better, can England match that level of performance, like raising the performance?
Depends on match selection. If Morgan's because at the time of recording, we're recording before the England squad's been announced, I believe. Let me just refresh this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
playing it
let me tell you
before the
what's
England squad's been announced. If Smithies isn't in the squad, we get
right.
battered.
So let me tell you what's being reported then. So it's being reported that Brimson will be in and Wellesby's dropped.
Okay.
Smith will be in at half, and Lewis will go to the bench.
Then what's the point? What's the point in dropping Wellesby?
Okay.
You may as well keep Wellesby and put Smith in, or
Yeah.
drop Wellesby and keep Lewis.
And also, if that is the case, and Smith goes in and Lewis goes to the bench, you then shoehorn in a position then for Mikey Lewis off the bench.
But then
I'll come.
Jez Litton
I'll
gets dropped or Clark gets
I'll
dropped.
I'll come back to that in a minute. Litton starts and Clark is
And Clark's
dropped.
dropped.
Now I
So our
think I
only
think he
try
can
scorer.
I think he can count himself unlucky if that's the case
Yeah, if that's mate,
because
then
Litton did well, but I don't think Litton's a starter.
no. I also heard that Aledski's coming onto the bench.
A lead skit will be Bateman and uh,
Kai Pitts
Havard.
Paul. Oh,
Havard, no,
Bateman and
Bateman and
Havard.
Havard will still be part of the 17.
This forward pack's weaker than the
Yeah,
last one.
and Aledzki will be in the 17 somewhere.
Christ, if that's the case and there's no Morgan Smithies, you may as well hand them a 60-point win.
Yeah, so
You
there's
may
still
they're
no.
gonna because their forward pack, mate. Isaiah Yo's dropped out, obviously. Carrigan's gone into the 13. Cotter's
Yeah,
still on the bench, and they brought in Lindsay Smith from Penrith.
yeah.
They are gonna absolutely wallop us if that's the pack.
just to go back to the Lewis thing.
Yeah,
So you're carrying Lewis on the bench. I'm assuming that the intention then is to bring Lewis on at 9,
yeah, it will be.
and he's going for 2 jack in the boxes from dummy half, isn't he? That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, but
Which is why I think that Clark can count himself unlucky, because you need that to do the dirty work,
and you
certainly at the
also
start
and
of the
also
game.
your nine has to be very strong defensively against that pack. If
And
you bring
neither, yeah.
Lewis on to play 9, they're just going to run through him
Now this reminds me a few years ago of when.
because he'll
So
be
my
next to
my
bloody Harry Smith
right. So
in the
my view is
defensive
always
line.
right. So my view has always been okay. So let's take Wellesby. Wellesby has been the best number 1 that England have had. Okay,
Yeah, for
poor
since
game,
Paul
right?
Wellens.
Yeah. Now Brimson's in because Wellesby was poor. Okay, therefore you've lost that number 1 shirt. There's no place for you. You've got to fight to get that number 1 shirt back.
Yeah.
If you're not the best 13 in the squad, then you're out. If you're not the
Hmm.
best number 9 in the squad, you're out. Now, it reminds me a few years ago of when Kevin Sinfield wasn't the best 6 in the squad,
Hmm.
um, and he wasn't the best 13 in the squad.
Yeah.
And we actually played him at 9.
A hooker. Yeah.
Now, he's not a hooker,
No.
and neither's Mikey Lewis.
Is it a case of history repeating ourselves and coaches
Yeah.
not learning?
So if you make that choice in the halves, well, then you have to be with your convictions as the coach. You have to say, "This is my half-back line in. This is it. This is my lineup. There, your half-back, Mikey. Sorry, you're out."
So if he makes them rumored changes, right, we're getting bullied in that forward department, aren't we?
Yeah, I actually thought the
And
2 hookers were quite good last week. I thought
yeah,
both of them
very good. And
did
they had a good
reasonably well.
rotation
Yeah,
because you had Clark who did the defensive stuff for the first 20, then you had Lytton come on,
yeah,
and he was a little jack in the box who exploited the fatigue at the time of it. So
yeah.
it was very good. That's the right hooker rotation. So if you change that,
I think
you
so.
are a mental coach.
Yeah, I think so.
Is this Sean Wayne writing the if this is true, these rumours, is this Sean Wayne writing his name on his England coach gravestone?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
I
he was
think this is
lucky after I think he was lucky after the last World Cup with his substitutions in that semi-final
yeah.
to last. I called for him to go then. And then he had a convincing win against Tonga, a convincing win against the half travelled over Samoa.
Mhm.
And he got everyone feeling good. This first test was shambolic of everything that he even said. We didn't even live up to what he said, the minimum of what he said of fire and desire. And now, if these rumours are true, right, what would my 13, right, if, like I said, if you're dropping Jack for AJ, you have to keep Lewis and Williams as your 6 and 7 because you need that little lively player that's off the cuff, right?
Yeah.
Your three quarters stay the same, your wingers stay the same. Then your forward pack, for me, you bring in Smithies at prop, you keep Clark, and you bring Walmsley from the bench, and you just go full power for them because Smithies can do 60 to 80 minutes
Mm.
easily. Then your second rows are McMeekin and Bateman. I'd play McMeekin at second row and go for pure strength and power. You can play second row, there's no issues there. Knowles at 13. And then off the bench, you'd have Pierce Paul for your second row fire. You'd have Jez Litton, obviously. And then your other two props would probably be Matty Lees for a bit of stability. And then you need your big bruising prop off the bench.
Well,
Which who's the other ones we've even got? Because Trout isn't that. So maybe you don't play Walmsley and you go Smithies and Trout, and then have Walmsley and Lees off the bench, or you
You,
Lees and you
did you mention Aledzki then?
or a Ledsky, I suppose. But I don't. Yeah, I suppose he's a bit of a big bruiser.
I mean,
Maybe, yeah, Lee.
Lees has fractured his eye socket as well.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he
Then
did it
maybe
in training.
Trout and Alensky
He,
then.
he did it in training before the game.
Oh, really?
So
Then maybe Trout and Alensky then on the bench. And
yeah,
then, but either way, Morgan Smithies has to be in that team. If he's not
yeah,
in that team, it's mental to me.
yeah. I agree, and I think what the only thing I would say coming up now is that what have been the two most important games in Sean Wayne's tenure? The first is
Samoa
the right, and what were his comments on
semi-final.
that? And his comment on that was, "We didn't turn up. We're
Hmm.
disappointed we didn't turn up." The other most important game he's had was last Saturday.
Thing is
And
though
what did
with
he say?
with
We didn't turn
yeah.
up.
Thing is though with that Samoa game, right? We had that game won, and he
Yeah,
decides to bring
yeah.
on McAlorden
Mm.
and have who did nothing all game, and
Just
Tompkins was back playing three positions.
just on a wider point for this isn't for Sean Wayne, this is for the next or any England coach. And I always go back to this, as you know, about everything that we do in rugby league should be geared towards
Hmm.
beating Australia, winning World Cups.
I agree.
That's the only way it's the only way as well that the game grows. When and again, I was at Sport England at the time. When England Rugby Union won the World Cup in 2003,
Yeah,
clubs could not cope with the amount of kids that wanted to go and play.
participation levels.
Yeah. And the RFU weren't ready for it. They didn't think they were going to win that World Cup. And it took them by completely by
And they were
surprise.
turning people away.
Yeah, and they
The
were all
waiting
geared
list.
up for the next one, which I think was 2007, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think, and they were more gearing up for that one.
Mm.
And oh, you'll be proud of me, by the way, because they had a tour with the World Cup, and they brought it round to all the offices to have your photo taken with the Rugby Union World Cup.
And you shunned it.
I did. Are you proud of me?
Yes. I'm chuffed with you. I'm
I
chuffed for you.
declined. I declined the offer and took loads of stick in the Sport England offices,
Good on you.
but I stuck by my convictions.
Good on you.
Thanks, mate. I know you'd be proud of me for
Fuck the Nazis.
that. So anything, but everything has to be geared up. We can't even get a decent structure to get a decent um, either some sort of home international series, some sort of French game,
Hmm.
anything. We're going into all these. We're going into these. We're going into the Ashes cold.
Yeah.
You can't do that
No. There needs to
because
be momentum.
even Australia, if you say, well, they haven't played a test, like a lot of the time they have the Anzac test, for example, things like that.
State of origin.
But the Origin thing is mad. The Origin prepares them for playing at that level for the Ashes test. We don't
Yeah.
have that,
No.
and we're already a weaker team,
Yeah.
and we've got to get that structure right for mid-season, a series of home internationals through the
Hmm.
season, whatever it may be, a series of
Which
midweek
is why
internationals,
you
whatever.
bring back Great Britain and you
Yeah,
have and in the mid-season you have everyone playing for the representative countries.
exactly. We've got to get more rep footy
Hmm. More
to
rep,
help the international coach in one
more
way or another,
rep, more
whatever it is.
development.
Whether it's a war of the roses, and I'm not going into that debate now, but you know what I mean. Whatever it is,
Be
some
here
sort
another
of
hour.
rep. I know some sort of rep footy. We need that to play home internationals, to play France, to have England Knights having a game, to see
Hmm.
who can. So England Knights, who can push in? Because Jake Connor probably would have been in the England Knights team,
Probably been captain.
right? If he rips it up for England Knights, he's making another statement there to say, "Go on then, drop me for this."
Hmm.
And it's not about Jake Connor. It's not about the selections for that. It's about putting pressure and having a bigger pool of quality international players.
Yeah,
And we've got to get
completely
to
agree.
that point. We've got to get, and the club owners have got to see that. They've got to see that we get that we help the international team, because that is how we build the future of the game.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And that's why we need the NRL investment to put the
mm,
international game first in terms of, because if England's, but if rugby league in England dies,
yeah,
means international rugby league in
and
England dies, which means we
yeah,
don't have events like this. We don't have the Australia-England rivalry. We don't have anything.
yeah, and that rep footy needs to be from academy level upwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And it needs to be instilled. And like you said, we need something that, like, if we beat Australia in the Ashes, which is virtually impossible now, but if we beat them, that would be the catalyst for growth domestically, because I reckon that would actually make news in England,
Yeah,
and people would be like, "Oh Jesus, we beat Australia at something,"
exactly, exactly.
whereas we
But
won't.
now we're all a bit, well, we're all a bit demoralised with it at the minute, aren't we?
We
And
are all demoralised. But give
we'll
me before go on.
I was going to say, final question for me on this anyway was, will the crowd make a difference? Because the atmosphere last week at Wembley was flat. It was
I was going to
terrible.
ask because
Well, I'll
Michael
tell you what.
Shamus and all the journals said it, but
It was terrible. I'll tell you what. Mikey Lewis got more boos when his name was read out than the Australian team got when they come out onto the pitch.
yeah, well that's pathetic, isn't it? But the
Yeah,
problem is it's the tribal atmosphere of English Rugby League, and that's the issue with the ownership groups, with the board members, with the people running the sport, is the tribalism, and we need
yeah.
to get away from that. If they pull on, it doesn't. I've cheered John Bateman on when he plays for England. I've cheered bloody Stan Tompkins on, so much so I've been chanting his name. Just go and score a try for England.
Mm,
These are players that I despise playing on the
yeah.
pitch. But because they play for England, I want them to score and do well. If you're there booing Mikey Lewis's name when he's playing for England, you're an idiot.
You need to have a word with yourself, don't you? Yeah,
You're an idiot.
absolutely, absolutely
And yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah,
I bet them people cheered on Sam Burgess when he was playing for England. I
yeah.
bet them people cheered on other players that were playing for
Mm.
England who were hated at the
Yeah,
but in the
I,
domestic and international games.
I was talking to I was joking with a Wigan fan on the concourse because he'd seen my shirt and he went, "Oh, can I have a look at your shirt? I've seen a few of these. Like, I didn't know whether to buy one or not." Anyway,
Mm,
we were chatting for a couple of minutes, and his last words to me was, we're all on the same side today, though, aren't we?"
exactly. And that's what we
And
are.
that's what he said to me. That was his last words as we said bye bye.
Exactly. And it's like me being over here in Australia, right? Whenever you meet someone from England, you'll have a bit of banter. One of my best mates over here, Wigan Warriors fan. Met him at Magic Round. Went up and seen him at Brisbane this week to go to the Tonga Samoa game. Text him every other day. And because we're pommies in Australia, we stick together. When we're
Mm,
watching England, doesn't matter whether you're from Hull, East Hull, West Hull, doesn't matter
mm,
whether you're from the Northeast,
yeah,
Southwest, St Helens, Wigan, Warrington. You
yeah,
cheered on the lads that are playing
that's it.
for it.
So will the atmosphere make a difference this week?
I don't think so, because I don't think the
Because
atmosphere will change no matter how many people are there. Because I've been to international games where there's 50,000 and it's still dead because there's no barmy army like they have in cricket, where they
yeah,
all book up a block and they
yeah,
start chanting and they sing and they do that. There's none of that until we start getting a Barmy Army in rugby league that go every single England game, that get a block designated to them that go the Barmy Army section. You can buy a ticket for this.
yeah.
Until you get that, I don't think you'll have an atmosphere. I don't think it'll change anything. I think Australia will come out fit and firing if our pack hasn't changed for the better with the changes I said we should make, and we end up getting what is rumoured, I think we could be looking at a near on cricket score.
Mm. Disappointingly, I think you could be right. And like I said, the biggest thing for me is go back to what I said right at the very start was that me my biggest regret, biggest disappointment in all this is that it's over before it's begun,
Yeah.
with nothing to build on.
Well, I said at
But I
the
hope we're
start
wrong.
it'd be a somber podcast. Well, last week we said we were winning 3-0 and smashing them and doing them in. So maybe this week that we've been somber and depressed, we'll battle them.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, so, anyway, on a lighter note, is there any positives going into it?
Um, get to go to Everton's new ground. Nice shiny new ground. Is that the sort of thing you mean?
Mine was going to be Irby
Do you know?
Farnworth, but that's a good point.
Okay, fair enough. The only other positive for me is that obviously different for you being based over there, but for us to see people like Reece Walsh in the flesh,
Yeah,
I think is magnificent. Anybody, when you see these touring teams come over, and you see the likes of Jerome Luai last year when Samoa played, and you're
yeah.
looking at people like Munster, and by the way, I thought Munster was fantastic last week,
He's
but
having an
but
incredible season.
yeah, I thought he was brilliant, and he's got overlooked because of Walsh.
Yeah.
He's not had that many plaudits, or people haven't mentioned it, but I thought Munster was fantastic, and but to see people like Munster and Cleary and Walsh live in the flesh, I think he's
hmm
brilliant, and above all else, as a rugby league fan, that's a positive as a rugby league fan.
That's true. That's true for you. I'm happy for you, Andy. I'm so happy. But on the lightest notes to end is Reece Walsh hasn't lost a game of rugby since he drank from the toilet bowl. So maybe shit does pay.
Yeah,
So anyway,
but you never know. You never
on
know. We
that
could
note,
do it.
you never know. We may well win. We may well shock us, but it's been great having you, Andy. This has been the Super League Pom-Cast, Ash's Game 2 special. I've been Johnny Lou, he's been Andy Lee, and it's see ya.
See you later.
Peace.